The quiet of the late night, Ibrahim arrived home, tired from a long day. His tie was loosened, and the top two buttons of his white shirt were undone, allowing a glimpse of his strong chest. And his coat draped over one arm as he made his way to the bedroom. The soft glow of the bedside lamp revealed Ava's absence when Ibrahim entered their room. He tossed his coat onto the bed and began to unfasten his tie. He sighed, wondering where Ava might be at this hour, maybe in his study. His tired eyes caught sight of the snow globe resting on Ava's side of the bed, near the pillow. A flicker of hope crossed his face as he murmured to himself, contemplating whether she had accepted his gift. His gaze lingered on the globe for a moment before he remembered the letter he had left for her the previous night. He looked around here and there, but he didn't notice the letter. He thought whether Ava had even read the heartfelt words he had penned. Did she appreciate the gesture? Or did she throw it without a second thought? With a heavy sigh, Ibrahim questioned the absence of a message or any indication from Ava. She could send a message to him. A simple message wouldn't hurt, would it? Such an anti-romantic girl. Ibrahim left the bedroom and his steps led him to his study room. In the study room, bathed in the glow of bright lights, Ibrahim entered silently, his eyes searching for Ava. There, in the center of the room, Ibrahim discovered sleeping Ava, her form perched on a rocking chair, and her hand resting on her lap, the paintbrush cradled within her fingers. The vibrant colors on the brush had left their mark on her white trousers and black t-shirt. And the room was filled with the sweet scent of acrylics. Less than greater than. 01. In front of her, an easel stood tall, displaying an incomplete painting. It seemed like the painting frozen in time, awaiting the touch of the artist to bring them to life. It seemed that the fervor of creation had given way to drowsiness, leading Ava to drift into a peaceful nap. Ibrahim marveled at the scene before him, a smile playing on his lips at the sight of Ava, lost in a world of dreams. Approaching her with a quiet step, Ibrahim observed the tranquil expression on Ava's face. The gentle breeze from the open window ruffled her hair. In this moment, Ava appeared more like a child than the strong-willed woman he often encountered. Captivated by the purity of her slumber, Ibrahim couldn't resist the impulse to preserve the scene. He retrieved his phone from his pocket, silently framing a snapshot of Ava in repose. The soft click echoed as he discreetly took a photograph. With the photo secured, Ibrahim continued to watch. But he couldn't shake off the concern for her comfort. The rocking chair wasn't an ideal for sleep. Ibrahim bent down beside Ava, his hands reaching under her knees and beneath her back. She was lighter than he expected, almost weightless. Her head found a place on his shoulder, her hair falling gently against his chest. He lifted her with the careful grace one might use with delicate glass, ensuring not to disturb her peaceful repose. As he began to lift her delicate form, the paintbrush in her hand slipped from her grasp, falling with this sound on the floor. Ava stirred, her eyes fluttering open with a startled expression. Ava, now awake, found herself cradled in Ibrahim's arms. Confusion painted her features as she looked up at him. The scene before her eyes was beyond her expectation, Ibrahim, holding her as if she were the most delicate treasure. In that moment, Ibrahim froze, a hint of panic crossing his face as he registered her unexpected awakening. Ibrahim, Ava blinked and questioned with her widened eyes, "What are you doing?" "You were sleeping here, and I thought it might hurt your back. So, I thought I could move you to your bed," Ibrahim replied. Ava, however, was having none of it. Her initial surprise morphed into irritation, and she insisted, "Put me down. You didn't have to do that." Respecting her wishes, Ibrahim slowly lowered Ava back to the floor. And she stood safely there on the floor. "Don't touch me like that." "Oh, one." Ibrahim sighed. He placed his hands inside the pockets of his pant and asked her, "Are you still angry with me?" Ava shot him a sharp look. Her sleep was nowhere to be found in her eyes. "When have you let me live peacefully after our marriage?" Ignoring Ava's reply, Ibrahim asked, "Did you read my apology letter?" Ava nodded, her gaze fixed on him. "I read it." "Then have you forgiven me this time?" Ibrahim pressed, a hope flickering in his eyes. "What do you want?" she challenged. "Every time you forcefully kiss me, and every time I'm supposed to forgive you." Ibrahim's response was steadfast, "Yes." Ava was dumbfounded, her disbelief evident in her eyes. "Every time?" she asked for confirmation. But Ibrahim was Ibrahim. He was unfazed. "Yes, every time." It seemed like Ibrahim enjoyed to see frustrated Ava. If it was that case, then he succeeded in his goal. Because Ava was really looking furious by his response. Her ears were red. Her eyes bore into Ibrahim's. "In that letter, you seemed genuinely guilty," she remarked. "You are right, I am guilty, even now too," he admitted, "but I never wrote that I'll stop coming near you. So I'll ask for your forgiveness every time." "Why should I forgive you every time?" Ava demanded. "What gives you the right to invade my personal space?" "Because I'm your husband," Ibrahim asserted. He was looking confident as ever. Ava scoffed, a bitter smile playing on her lips. "Husband? In name only. You don't respect any boundaries." Ibrahim leaned against a nearby shelf. "And you think you can live peacefully without acknowledging me as your husband?" "Oh, one. I don't want to talk to you, and I won't forgive you," Ava declared, her voice sharp with frustration. But in the reality Ava didn't have any answer for Ibrahim's question. She decided to retreat to the kitchen to find solace by making a coffee. Ibrahim really gave her a bad headache. Ibrahim also followed her into the kitchen. Ava turned to him. "Don't follow me," she admonished. "It's my mansion. I can go anywhere," Ibrahim calmly asserted. Ava sighed, her temples pulsating with the ache. She muttered to herself, "Should have never married him." She made her way to the kitchen, noting that it was her first time setting foot in this part of the Rahman mansion. In the mansion there were many helpers, so she never had to come here. But now they were sleeping as it was late night. So Ava had to make her own coffee by herself. Ava surveyed the unfamiliar surroundings. She couldn't help but notice the modern coffee machine on the countertop. It was a device she had no intention of using. Instead, she opted for the traditional gas stove, taking out a small pot to make her coffee. Meanwhile, Ibrahim, leaning against the kitchen counter, observed her movements with a calm demeanor that only seemed to amplify Ava's irritation. "Why don't you use the coffee machine?" Ibrahim suggested. "I don't like the taste of machine-made coffee," she replied without looking at him. Ibrahim requested, "Make one for me too." Ava looked at him. She was ready to refuse. However, a fleeting memory crossed her mind, of a time when Ibrahim had made coffee for her in her apartment. Reluctantly, she acquiesced. "Fine, just this once. Don't expect it to become a habit." When the milk began its slow ascent to a boil, Ava couldn't help but mutter to herself, "What if I make Ibrahim fit in this pot, in the boiling milk? All my problems would disappear in a moment." The thought brought a wry smile to her face, and she continued her task. On the other hand, Ibrahim was really amused. I heard that, you know. So what? I'm not scared of you, Ava retorted. Ibrahim stood beside Ava. You really don't get scared by me. Focusing on pouring coffee grounds into the pot, Ava scoffed lightly. Scared? No. Irritated? Absolutely. Ibrahim chuckled, amused by her candid response. You find me irritating? She handed the coffee cup to Ibrahim. You forcefully married me, and now you keep barging into my personal space. Shouldn't I find that irritating? A smile played on Ibrahim's lips and he accepted the cup. Well, if you're not scared, how about we go for a honeymoon? Enjoy somewhere beautiful. A smile played on Ibrahim's lips and he accepted the cup. Well, if you're not scared, how about we go for a honeymoon? Enjoy somewhere beautiful. Ava was taken aback. What? She was taking the first sip of her coffee, but as soon as Ibrahim mentioned a honeymoon, her hand froze in midair. She looked at him as if he had suggested something utterly absurd. How can you even think of a honeymoon? Ava exclaimed. Come on, it'll be fun. A change of scenery might do us good. Ibrahim tried to convince her. But Ava was unamused. She took a sip of coffee and told, Fun? With you? I highly doubt that. She shook her head in no. Ibrahim tried to sweeten the deal. We'll go to a beautiful place, enjoy the scenery, maybe even try some couple activities. Ava scoffed. Couple activities? Really? You've got to be kidding me. You never know. We might end up enjoying each other's company. Ibrahim was not ready to give up yet. Ava shot him a look of disbelief. Enjoy your own company. I'm not interested. I'm going back to the study room. This is ridiculous. Ava continued walking toward the study room, coffee cup still in hand. Ibrahim finished his coffee and followed her. Come on, Ava. We can try to make some good memories. It might not be as bad as you think. Less than greater than. Oh, one. Ava reached the study room, turned to him, and sighed, memories. All I've got so far are forceful kisses and awkward encounters with you. Ibrahim leaned against the doorframe, smirking. Maybe I can the change of scenario. You might even enjoy it. Ava shook her head. I don't think so. And besides, I have more important things to focus on, like my exams. He walked closer to her. Exams? I thought we could leave all that behind for a while. Ava raised an eyebrow. In what world is that even a possibility? Ibrahim replied, in my world. A world where you and I can coexist peacefully. Stop dreaming, Ibrahim. I'm not going anywhere. Ava dismissed Ibrahim's suggestion. She walked over to the incomplete painting, carefully picked up the paintbrush from the floor, and resumed her work. Ibrahim stood beside her. What about a peaceful weekend getaways? Ava, not looking away from her canvas, responded, Ibrahim, you can't promise peace. Every time you come close to me, chaos follows with you, and I'm still scared by those chaos. What if you try to get physical again? I can't trust you, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, raising his hands defensively, assured, I won't, Ava. I promise. I know I've made mistakes, Ava. But this is different. Ava paused her painting, looking into Ibrahim's eyes. She questioned herself, can I trust him? She was torn between the desire for a break and the fear of repeating history, sighed deeply. The idea of a peaceful weekend getaway was tempting, yet she couldn't shake off the hesitation. Ibrahim complained, here I am, bending over backward to make you agree, and in my line of work, a single command is all it takes." Ava chuckled bitterly. "Well, I'm not one of your men, Ibrahim. I won't dance to your tune. And I have my studies. I can't afford to lose focus." She started to paint once again. Ibrahim took a step closer. "I'll even help you cover half of your syllabus before we go. You won't have to worry about anything." "Oh, one." Ava's brush hovered over the canvas. The voice inside her grew louder, encouraging her to embrace this opportunity. Ava took a deep breath and said, "I'll go then. If you help me with my studies." Ibrahim finally sighed, "Thank you." He couldn't believe Ava had finally agreed to the weekend getaway after their half-hour struggle. His world, often controlled by power and authority, seemed to have a different set of rules when it came to convincing his wife. Ava looked at him. Ibrahim was still there. "Don't you have any work?" Ibrahim replied, "Not right now." Ava put down her paintbrush and palette and she instructed him to follow her. Ibrahim trailed behind his wife. They came inside their bedroom. Without further explanation, Ava marched toward the closet and started pulling out all her clothes, creating a messy pile on the bed. Ibrahim stared at the pile of clothes dumped on the bed, his eyebrow raised in confusion. Ava's unexpected request left him utterly perplexed. "Iron all my clothes. Why on earth would I do this?" Ibrahim questioned, gesturing to the scattered clothes. "Consider it a consequence of your actions, your punishment for that forced kiss." Ava replied, "I'm not exactly the ironing type. We have people for that, you know." Ibrahim protested. Ava shook her head. "No, only you will handle this task. It's your penance." Ibrahim was trying to maintain his image, argued, "I lead a whole organization. I don't do household chores." It seemed like his image was going to be shattered soon. Ava retorted, "Well, there's a first time for everything. Consider it a lesson. I've never done these things. It's not my area of expertise." Ibrahim looked at the piled clothes. "It's time you broaden your skill set. And I need those clothes perfectly ironed for our weekend getaway," Ava countered. "Can't we just ask someone else to do this?" He tried another approach. "Oh, one." Maintaining her stern tone, Ava replied, "No. This is your task. But, if you don't want to do this, then do you want another wax treatment like last time?" Ibrahim winced at the memory. "No, no more waxing. I remember the pain. It was worse." Ava was satisfied with his reaction. "Good. I'll be back in an hour. Make sure all my clothes are perfectly ironed." "Where are you going?" Ibrahim asked. Ava replied, "I'll be completing the painting. You focus on your punishment." Ibrahim sighed as he watched Ava leave the room, wondering how a simple request for a weekend getaway had led to him being assigned household chores. He accepted his unusual punishment begrudgingly, picking up the iron from the drawer and faced the unfamiliar territory of ironing. He eyed the pile of Ava's dresses. The pants and trousers seemed straightforward enough, and with a hint of confidence, he started tackling them. He picked up a pair of pants, thinking, "All right, trousers, I can handle this." The iron glided over the material smoothly, and Ibrahim found a rhythm. But his newfound confidence was short-lived. His gaze shifted to Ava's stylish tops, adorned with ruffles and intricate lace designs. He hesitated for a moment, contemplating the best approach. "How in the world do you even iron lace?" Ibrahim pondered aloud. As he pressed the iron over the delicate fabric, Ibrahim soon discovered that not everything went as smoothly as he hoped. The fabric protested against the heat, and a lace section curled ominously. "Maybe ironing isn't as simple as I thought," Ibrahim admitted. Some sweat formed on his forehead, of course not because of the heat of the iron but for his frustration. "Ah, come on," Ibrahim exclaimed, inspecting the damage. The situation worsened as he moved on to a top adorned with rhinestones. With each pass of the iron, a few sparkled gems succumbed to the heat. "Great, just great," he grumbled, realizing that this seemingly simple task required more finesse than he anticipated. Then came the dresses, an array of confusing patterns that left Ibrahim scratching his head. The dresses varied from bold florals to abstract prints. He picked one dress. "This one looks like a Picasso painting," he muttered. He attempted to decipher the artistic chaos on the fabric. "Oh, one." He tackled each dress and his frustration grew. "Ava hardly wears dresses when I'm around. She practically lives in trousers and t-shirts at home, and now I'm tasked with ironing her entire collection," he grumbled, the irony not lost on him. Despite his exasperation, Ibrahim persevered, determined to conquer the challenge Ava had set before him. Nonetheless, Ibrahim pressed on, choosing a relatively simple dress to start with. And he succeeded with a first attempt. Then he moved to the other dresses. Picking up one of the dresses, he studied it as if it were a mystery. "What kind of design is this? Is this the front, or did I just turn it around? Why can't dresses have a manual?" He struggled with the dresses, one after another. But somehow he managed to iron with some little bit burnt marks. Why couldn't she have given me something simpler? Trying to iron them became an ordeal. He would start on one side, only to find out later that it was the back, not the front. The confusion mounted with each garment he attempted to press. Though he was managing somehow, but the dresses seemed to have a mischievous agenda of their own. In the midst of his struggles, Ibrahim accidentally left the iron on one dress for too long, resulting in a burnt fabric and the release of an unpleasant odor. Panic set in as he noticed the smoke. He managed to burn not only the dress but also a section of the mattress. "Oh, she's going to kill me for this. Why on earth did she give me these dresses? And who designs these things? I can't even tell which way is up." The burnt smell filled the room, and Ibrahim frantically tried to fan away the smoke with a magazine. He considered whether attempting to fix the dress or concealing the damage would be a better approach. "Fantastic," Ibrahim sighed, surveying the damage. "Ava's going to kill me." Unbeknownst to him, the same time Ava entered the room. Expecting to see the neatly ironed clothes she had left for Ibrahim to handle. However, the scene that met her eyes was something out of a comedy of errors. The room carried an unmistakable scent of burnt fabric, and her wardrobe lay scattered with dresses that now bore unintended scorch marks. She approached slowly towards the bed, and her gaze immediately fell on her favorite dress, the one she had planned to wear on a special occasion. It lay crumpled and marred by burnt streaks, a casualty of Ibrahim's ambitious ironing endeavor. Shock and disbelief etched across Ava's face as she tried to make sense of the unexpected chaos. And Ibrahim was standing there with the iron still in hand, looked more like a perplexed businessman than the head of a criminal empire. He really lost his identity. "What on earth happened here?" Ava exclaimed, her finger pointing accusatively at the burnt dresses. "I told you, this is not my forte," Ibrahim replied. Ava's eyes flitted across the array of dresses. Her favorite pieces, once carefully handled by her, now bore the unmistakable scars of Ibrahim's ironing adventure, you burned my clothes." Ava began assessing the damage and she counted the burnt marks on each piece. The toll of Ibrahim's ironing adventure became painfully clear. 18 out of her 24 clothes lay victim to the misguided attempts at domesticity. Her eyes widened with disbelief. She was unable to contain her emotions, felt a lump forming in her throat. 18 out of 24, she whispered, the weight of the loss sinking in. Ibrahim, still holding the iron, watched Ava's eyes well up with tears. "Why are you crying?" "Less than greater than." "Oh, one." Ava, her voice shaky, gestured towards the ruined clothes. "I bought these with my own money. They were more than just clothes, they were memories." Ibrahim gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ava, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I'll buy you new clothes, even better ones from other good brands." Ava replied while sobbing, "No, Ibrahim. I want these clothes. You don't understand. They were unique." Okay, he said, trying to console her. "I'll find these exact clothes for you. Just please don't cry, baby girl. Don't cry," Ibrahim requested her. Ava, still distraught, while looking at her burnt clothes, she replied, "You don't get it. They were from a street market. They change their stock regularly. It won't be easy to find the same ones." Her tears were flowing continuously. In an attempt to console her, Ibrahim cupped her face with his hands and made her look into his eyes. "Ava, look at me. I'm sorry. You can beat me, scold me, do whatever you want, but please don't cry like this. I can't stand to see your tears." He took a step closer, using the pad of his thumb to gently wipe away the dampness on her cheeks. "I figure this out, and I promise to make it right, even if I have to scour every street market in the city." She hesitated before posing a question that seemed to hang in the air. "Promise you'll bring the same clothes for me?" This was the first time Ava demanded something from Ibrahim. Meeting her gaze, Ibrahim nodded affirmatively. "I promise, baby girl. Don't cry." He was still wiping her cheeks. Ava gazed into Ibrahim's eyes, felt an unexpected softness in his brown gaze. His eyes held a depth of earnestness that seemed to cut through her fears. She found herself questioning why she was drawn to his eyes, their warmth oddly comforting. Stepping back, Ava composed herself, using the back of her hand to wipe her cheeks. Her blush-painted cheeks now carried the traces of emotional turmoil. She stated, "I want my clothes back before our weekend getaway." "Okay, princess, as you wish. Now sleep. It's 3 in the morning," Ibrahim replied, gesturing towards her bed. "Oh, one." Ava glanced at her bed cluttered with clothes and retorted, "How can I sleep when there are so many clothes?" Ibrahim took charge, neatly rearranging her clothes back into the closet. Turning towards her, he offered a gentle reminder, "Now sleep, your bed is clean." Ava, succumbing to the exhaustion of the emotional rollercoaster, lay down on her bed. Ibrahim couldn't help but smile at her undeniable cuteness. The question lingered in his mind, why was she so cute? He mused silently about why she had such an effect on him. She always looked so innocent to Ibrahim. "May I switch off the lights?" he inquired. With a slight shake of her head, Ava whispered, "No." Ibrahim respected her unspoken fears and left the lights on, pondering when the day would come when Ava could let him sleep peacefully with the lights off. Ibrahim also went to his bed without changing his clothes. He was too tired for that. The soft morning light filtered through the hotel room's curtains, casting a gentle glow on the aftermath of the night's escapades. Jessica stirred, her curly hair tousled and hiding beneath the blankets. She blinked into consciousness, realizing she wasn't alone. Professor Said sat on the sofa, legs crossed, a glass of wine in hand, and his gaze lost in contemplation beyond the glass window. The ambience hinted at the shared secrets of the night. With a sly smile, Jessica peeked out from under the covers. "Morning, Professor," she greeted him. He turned to her, the corners of his lips curling into a knowing smile. "Morning, Jessica. Sleep well?" She chuckled. "You could say that. Last night was something else." Professor Said took a sip of his wine. "Indeed. Though you did mention I was a bit painful." Jessica, wrapped in the sheets, rolled her eyes with a teasing smile. "Well, sometimes pain is pleasure, isn't it?" Professor Said leaned back. "True. Care to join me for some morning wine?" "Oh, one." Jessica glanced at the clock. "Morning wine. You're breaking all the rules, Professor." "Oh, one." He shrugged. "Rules are meant to be bent." She slipped out of the bed, hiding behind the sheets, and joined him on the sofa. They clinked glasses, toasting to the night's adventures and the unusual relationship they shared. "What about my Viva marks, Professor? I need a perfect score, 20 out of 20. No even numbers less," Jessica asked. Professor Said chuckled, demanding, "Aren't you? We'll see what can be arranged." Jessica, still wrapped in the sheets, playfully nudged Professor Said with a grin. "I'm not demanding, Professor. It's just my right after all the educational experiences I endured last night." Professor Said chuckled, appreciating her cheekiness. "Ah, the joys of academia." She leaned back, still holding the sheet strategically. "Exactly. So, about those Viva marks." He raised an eyebrow, feigning seriousness. "Are you sure you want to talk about Viva marks now?" Jessica smirked. "Always. A girl has to secure her academic future, you know." He clinked his glass with hers, a smirk playing on his lips. "Consider it your reward for enduring the educational experiences. But I can't promise a perfect 20. Jessica laughed. "Fair enough, Professor. As long as you don't grade me on a curve." Professor Said, swirling the wine in his glass, looked at Jessica thoughtfully. "So, what's the story with Farah?" Jessica raised an eyebrow. "Why do you ask?" He leaned back. "Just curious. You and Farah seem to be in the same class. You're friends, right?" Jessica chuckled. "Not really. We're in the same class, but I wouldn't call us friends. More like acquaintances." Professor Said smirked. "Yet, you seem to know quite a bit about her. I hear she's skilled in some unconventional talents. Hacking, I believe." Jessica nodded. "Yeah, she's good with computers. Helped a few friends out, including me once or twice." "Why this sudden interest in Farah?" He grinned. "It's my problem, Jessica. You don't need to know. Just a bit of curiosity. Any idea where she lives?" "Why are you so interested in Farah's whereabouts, Professor?" Jessica asked. Professor Said replied while looking at the window, "I just need to know something about her." Jessica nodded. "She lives in a shared apartment with some other classmates." "Why?" Professor Said paused for a moment, then leaned forward. "Jessica, how would you like a unique opportunity? There could be a significant reward in it for you." Jessica was intrigued too. "What do you need me to do?" I need you to live in Farah's shared apartment for a few days. Keep an eye on things, observe. There'll be a good reward for you, of course," Professor Saeed said with mysterious smile. Jessica furrowed her brow. Live in Farah's apartment.